Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Well, hello, welcome back. It's the 2nd of September. It's Labor Day. It's also New Model Day. It's also a bunch of stuff day. It may be a holiday to celebrate working in the United States, but I am certainly no rest for me. I have jumped back in with both feet. I had a wonderful vacation. I'm glad to be back. No, that's not true. I've been spending all week trying to learn how to say that with a straight face. I wish I was still on vacation. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be wishing for that? But I'm doing the next best thing, which is building models. I've also got a order cutting in the background. You might hear that later. I'm taking advantage of a quiet time right now. I've got the Enterprise D that I'm working on making masks for. But this is what I'm going to show you on the table here is what I am concentrating my efforts on this week. And this is what I've called, I don't know if Jeff Fink has called, this is from the mind of Jeff Fink. This came from Sean Homer at 8K Miniatures. Highly recommend him. Good dude. But this is a kit he sent to me. And this kit made its debut at Wonderfest last year. My good friend Phil Segal, wonderful host, kind gentleman that he is, built this kit for Wonderfest last year. And then after the show, Jeff made these files available. And Sean has printed me up a set and sent it to me. It is what I'm calling Dalek Phil. I don't know if Jeff is calling it Dalek Phil. It's a wonderful tradition. I first heard of it. As you know, Daleks have no designation. They have no names. They are part of a collective, much like the Borg. There was only one group, the Cult of Skaro. See, I'm getting into my Doctor Who lore. But I have to tell you that most of my Doctor Who knowledge comes from 2005 on. I was aware of the early series. I call it the old series. But I didn't watch it. I was not a fan. I was not a follower. I have seen a few episodes here and there. It's okay. It's okay. It moves a little too slow for me, and the production values are, on the low end side. But it was the 60s. What can you say? I'm more of a fan of the 2005 on, from the Chris Eccleston 9th Doctor on. That is my generation. So Phil had an idea to make this Dalek kit, and he and Jeff tinkered it together. But this Dalek comes from the before times. It comes from the earlier generations, where the design is a little bit simpler. It's not quite as angular. It's not the bronze Dalek that I'm a fan of. But speaking of the bronze Dalek, I actually had last year, and you may have seen a video of it, I've had a full-size Dalek from the 2005 series onward. Had one of those made for me by a kind gentleman down in Myrtle Beach. You check on eBay, you probably still can find his listing. Do, life-size Dalek, it'll show up. But he called his Dalek Lou because he differentiated his clients or the customers that were buying these, and they named it after, if your name was Jim, the Dalek was called Dalek Jim. That was just how he did it. So I have Dalek Lou in the living room. I'm building Dalek Phil because it fits with the name with the Cult of Skaro. There was, I think, Dalek Thay and I don't know the names of them that well, but they were the only ones that had names. So we're building Dalek Phil on the table. It's going to be it's a basic kit. It's got a really neat cutaway aspect to it, but it's just ripe for adding your own greeblies and lighting and extra stuff. And that's what we're going to be doing this week. Like I said, on the backdrop, I've got an order going out to Steve. I've got the Enterprise D. I'm getting supplies in. My LEDs should be coming in today. My addressable LEDs should be coming in today. I've got a new tool that's coming in later this week that's going to help me cut out that phaser strip. So until I have those things, I'm not really going to be jumping back in on construction. I am doing the some of the decals and the paint masks for the lifeboats and such. That's all happening in the background as well. So I'm spinning several plates today. Let's get down to the table though, so I can show you the parts of Dalek fill, and I can get that started. Here are the parts for Dalek fill. Now, Sean, when he sent this, sent a full set of instructions, which is nice, but he also sent this, which is something I wish more 3D kit makers would do. He sent a part list. So if I could check off all of my parts against this and know that I've got everything here. This is the next best thing to, printed instructions. When you buy a model, you get a parts list on the instructions. Sometimes it's a picture of the actual sprue that has all the parts on it. But this is great because now I can go through and say, okay, not only does he know that he packed 5 of these small plates, but I know that I should expect to find 5 plates, and I can check my incoming versus his outgoing, and we're all good. And then we've got some instructions to show how it all goes together. Not a very complicated kit until you start adding stuff to it. Now, because it is a 3D printed kit, you're going to do some sanding. You're going to do some altering to make it fit. Sort of like a resin kit, not everything works perfectly. Now, the starring feature of this kit is the clear ball. I started working on this a little bit over the weekend. You are meant to print this, and if you wanted to, if you had a clear printer, you could print this. But he also recommends these acrylic hemispheres, which was an ornament. It was like you can find it at a craft store, so you can make your own Christmas ornaments. It's basically a ball. You stuff your memory, whatever it is you want to put in there, and make an ornament of it. And then it had a little attachment that you could hang it. Well, we got rid of all of that because that's what our Khalid is going in. And this is an old school Dalek. This is an old school Khalid creature that kind of fits inside the center there, and then the top. This is not the design of the Dalek as it was in the later series, but how it was in the early series. So that kind of goes in there, and there's opportunities for painting it and gooping it up, and then it goes inside of this tower. Now, this is a piece, this is a piece, base, piece, goes like that, and then we have this on top. I'm sorry, oh, I got the wrong one. Got the silly thing in reverse. Got this piece. Now, here's something I have talked to Jeff Fink about over the weekend because it wasn't fitting properly, and he informed me that there was an updated piece in the kit, or in the list of 3D printed pieces, and what Sean had sent me was an older version, where in the new version these two parts are fit together as one. Because I have not used my printer in months, I really don't want to wake it up just to print this one thing. So I'm thinking that if I can't adapt this and sculpt what I need to make it work, and try it out that way first before I go through the hassle of getting my printer set up again. Because like I said, it has been months since I've used that, and I could probably lose a day getting that printer back up and running. But this should sit like this, and there's all kinds of greebly details. But the first thing I want to do is something that I can do completely without this, and that is I need to put this shell together. Let me move all of this to the back. These two pieces are very thick, and they need to go together, and they need to be clamped to fit. So what I'm going to do is mix up some epoxy, get my clamps out, clamp this thing together, and then have it be curing while I'm off doing other jobs today. That way I can be ready to work on that when it comes time to do it, because this shell, and then this sits like this, and basically it goes like that, and that gets you your whole shell. So let me do these. Let me do this big beefy part that has to go together, and then we'll come back and talk about what else is going on here today. Alrighty, so we've got another quiet spot in the plotting, so I could catch you up on where I am on Dalek fill here. Done a lot of the preliminary assembly, a lot of the stuff that, you know, a simple part A onto part B type of thing. Clean up the clamps here. I've got the side of these two parts, I've got these clamped together and epoxied in. Took some convincing to get those two pieces to join. This one was a little easier. However, the top, I'm going to need to squeeze in just that much to make it fit the underside of the dome. These surface details here largely will not be seen because of where they fit. And we've got, again with the weather announcements. I've got these appliques on, and those are ready to go down at some point. Or, I mean, this base is ready to go down. Now we're talking about adding wiring or adding lights to this, which means it's going to have to run out to an external box somehow, because it's not really designed for a way to hide it unless you're going to hide the battery up in here. That's completely possible. If I were to do that, it would mean taking this off and perhaps cutting out the bottom. Now the bottom is not meant to be seen. I mean, it could be if you wanted to hide it up, but the way it's displayed, you could get away with not seeing the bottom. I don't believe this was the design of the old-fashioned Daleks anyway. I think they don't, you know, I don't think you ever saw the bottom of an old-fashioned Dalek. That's where the little tricycle sits, where the guy that runs, you know, that with his feet out through the floor that runs him around. It wasn't until the Eccleston era that they showed that they could fly, and I think that may have been the first time you saw the underside. I could be wrong on that, because like I said, I was not a student of the classic Doctor. So I'm thinking if I was going to do that, cut this out, that way I could sneak a 9-volt battery and a switch up inside there. That might be the best way to do it. I could make a hatch and make it so that it was magnetized and available that way. I would only need to trace this out so that I could see where my hole would end up being. I think that's going to be the way to go, because I've got those 9-volt battery boxes that have the switch on them, and that's all I would really need to do. It's going to be the simplest way. I'm going to put one light here, one blue light in the eye stock. We're going to put some, we've got some of those noodle lights left over from Maria that I could work in here. And I've got some color changing LEDs that we could put in here. So I think we've got opportunities abundant to add some lighting. It's just going to be a question of where and how many. This is the battery box I'm referring to, and it's built so that you can slip a 9-volt battery in there and close it up, and it's got a switch on it. So all I would need to do would be to make a hole in here such a way that that would sit on top of it. It's just a little, actually that's about the exact height, so by the time I cut this out, yeah, that would work. I think what I need to do is trace this out and maybe keep it back of this. We'll see. But if I trace that out, better stop. Lay that like that, like that. So in order for that to be in the center, yeah, it's going to have to be in the center of that to line up with that central post. So if we do something like this, and then cut this much out, you might be better off cutting that whole circle, but if we cut that much out, we can slide this up into the central post and get our power that way. Alrighty, I've got my hole cut now. It's a little bit bigger than it needs to be, but that's fine. What I'm going to do is attach a metal plate to the bottom of this battery pack that I can run 2 magnets to, here and here. And then I can just pull this whole plate off and this will be attached to it. Similarly to what I did with the sandcrawler, where I had a plate that acted as a doorway. That's easy enough to take care of. Plus, any hole is going to be covered by this, so you're not going to see it from the inside any which way. So, good to go on that. And I think it's time to go find some lunch. Well, make that late lunch since it's already after 2. Been running myself ragged today. I don't even know what time it is. Got some of these detail bits put on the collar piece. These you can't put on until, well, you can put one of them on, but you can't do both of them until you've got this piece glued in. I think it's interesting the way Jeff has designed this to kind of look like a TARDIS console with the thing in the front and the 6 sides to it. I think that's a neat tribute, neat homage. Well, actually 8 sides to it. Sorry, not 6. But that goes on top of the brain globe. And the brain globe goes here with the bottom half of the collet. Top half goes like that. And then that sits on top of it. And then we can start running our wires. I think we're almost to the point where I'm ready to hit this with a primer coat, except for the clear bits. Hit that with a primer coat and then start worrying about the paint. The paint itself is not going to be all that elaborate. It's mostly going to be metals and gunmetals and things like that. It's going to be in the wiring and the lighting that we're going to see our color. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's afternoon, actually. I've been a busy boy today. I'm still finishing up Steve's order, which will go out here in a minute or 2. I have plotted the last bit of it, and it is ready to go be packaged up and sent out. While that's been going on, I've been playing with Dalek Phil here, and I started this morning with just going, freehand with some of the metallic Tamiyas that I have, the bronze and the copper and the gunmetal, kind of doing up this tower inside here. And then I got the idea, partly based on what Phil did with his, but partly because I've got these things that I love to use and I want to use them up. I've got some of these noodle lights left over from when I did the Maria build, and I was thinking it would be a wonderful place to use these. So I've been toying with ideas of how they would be used. These are the white ones that I used on the Maria. This is a blue one that I think would look nice going up to the weapon. And then I've got this green one and a red one, and I'm thinking of maybe trying to use them inside the Dalek bubble, or the Khaled bubble that goes in here. Then I've got some spare wire and some tubing that I can just run from point A to point B to make things look interesting. I've also got some multi-strand wire and some different colored wire that I can just bundle and toss in there. I've got some color changing LEDs that I can put up in the brain area. I think that would be nice. And also in the, again, in the Khaled bubble area. So I'm having that kind of fun with it. This is just jazz. It's just me looking at what I think would look nice, not paying particular attention to canon, if such can be said, because these early generation Daleks, I don't know that much about, so I'm having a little bit more fun with just filling in some blank spaces, which is the whole purpose of this particular kit, is to allow you to do that. I'm looking for the top plate, and I'm not seeing, oh, here it is, the top plate there, and I'm wondering if I could do some downlighting on the, oh, I bet you I could. I bet you I could do some downlighting with the color changing bulbs right in there. That would be fun. There is a bulb, obviously a light that goes obviously a light that goes out to the weapon here. That might be a straight pico-sized white LED that goes out to the eye stalk here. That could be fun. The nice thing about this is it's got this central shaft opening. The whole, well, I was going to say the whole way down, but you have to work your way around the colored bubble. That could be tricky. I think I can do it for what I want to do. I think I can sneak the wiring, and that's the other thing. The beauty of this kit is you can leave your wiring out and exposed because it's just going to add to the jumbled up nature of what's going on here. And I'm thinking that maybe I want to run two. I've got two of these blue that I could run out to the weapon. That might be fun to do that. So yeah, I'm just speculating at this point, just having some fun, and we'll just have to join it in progress and see how well it goes. Alrighty, so I've spent some time this afternoon painting on the collet himself that's going into the bubble, and I've started working on the lighting. These are lights that are going to shine down over top of the brain pan here. In the real world, this would look like, or this would have the dome sitting over top of it like that. That would be shining down on the neck, if you want to use those terms. And then this would go underneath it, and that's where the collet would sit. So we're starting to have some fun with lighting now. And once I get this bubble sealed up, we'll be able to kind of work our way from the top and from the bottom at the same time. Okay, we're getting ready to close up for the day. Now this has been running for 2-3 hours by now, and it's good and well burned in, so I'm thinking we can start neatening up the wires on that. But it's basically 4 of those slow color changing bulbs on 4 quadrants of the neck there, and I think that's going to be just fine. The other thing I did today was to work on the collet. Now I sunk the bottom half. This is my old trick of taking 30-minute epoxy, mixing a little bit of color in it, so I had some of the color left over for when I did the Jaws shark, when I did Bruce, and I mixed that tiny bit of that up with the 30-minute epoxy, not the clear deep pore resin stuff. This is just regular 30-minute epoxy. And of course it started to heat up, so I got an ice pack and I sat it in an ice pack so that it wouldn't deform the plastic bubble there. I was afraid of it melting through. But that's ready to go, and I painted up the top. Now I'm going to cover this with some more epoxy tomorrow so that I can keep the sliminess of it. But that's pretty much ready to go. And that piece goes underneath it like that. And then the top sits in it like this. Now he's not going to have any juicy resin in the top of the bulb, but that's all going to be in the bottom of the bulb. So it looks like he's sitting in a stew of it. That's the goal. And then we can address putting this on the top. But that's where we're going to close up for today. Got a lot done. Got a lot of painting done. Got a lot of the imagining done for the lighting, and it's just going to be a question of piecing it together as we go through the rest of the week. I'm finishing up another busy day and working on trying to get some work in on the Dalek fill here. Didn't get to touch any of this today, which I was ashamed because I was really hoping to. But I did get blue. I did get a case of blue balls. Painted the balls blue. Now, I mistakenly, perhaps naively, thought all of those would be the same size. They're not. I don't know whether that's a fact of the file or just an artifact of the printing, but there's about 3 different sizes of balls there. Some are squashed, some are round, some are larger than others. And nothing upsets me more than plotting out a bunch of identical masks and then finding out the shapes that I'm masking are far from identical. So that took a lot more effort than I was really hoping to have to put into it. And I'm just going around them lightly because there's a lot of masking. And this is the glossy Tamiya paint, so I'm trying to not glop it all at one time. I'm trying to let it put on in smaller and more coats of lesser pressure, hoping that I won't get any runs in them, because no one wants runny balls. The glossy blue balls are enough without them being runny, and that's about as many ball jokes as I'm going to try to squeeze in there. This is big rattle can gray paint, and it's not drying nearly as fast as I want it to. I also sprayed it on the top dome piece here and got some schmutz in it. I'm thinking I might have to either I'm going to try to strip it back down, but if I can't, I may have to reprint that piece. It's just nasty. I got the black mesh here. I got the mesh painted black. That's going to go in the screening in behind there to fill that out. Of course, the inside you've seen, but this is the outside shell that needs to get some work, and then it's going to get these silver slats around the outside here, and I'm going to be painting those with a high coat of silver. So I just need to lay all of these out and get some silver paint on. Maybe I can do that as the last bit tonight. I can go ahead and get this silver paint done. So let me get a board and some tape, and I'll get those knocked out. Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday. It's the gateway to the weekend. Work is continuing on Dalek Phil, and today I think we're going to be doing a lot of wiring. Got painting done yesterday. This is looking nice. I need to take this masking off and see what we've got in here. This gloss gray I thought was going to be the death of me, and it has overnight. It's finally cured. It was tacky all yesterday, and so much so to the point I thought I was going to have to scrap this piece and reprint it. But I was able to sand down my grubby thumbprints and everything else that ruined this paint job, and I'm going to put a light coat of another paint on top of it that is not going to be this gloss gray. That will dry in in a day and won't give me the problems that I've had before. But I'm thinking what I'd like to do is first take this masking off and see how dramatic that looks. I've got to glue this screening in, and then I can set that all to the side while I am concentrating on the wiring of the central stock. Yesterday I also finished him up. I put some of the Solarez on top of this actually, and then hit it with a light curing UV pen, and it gave me the appropriately icky gloss look that I was looking for. And that can go back over top. Something else I can do is go ahead and put the microcrystal clear on this and glue these domes down. Importantly, I love the foaming look of that. It just looks so neat. But that's going to go in the bottom of this, and then we're going to stick it in there and route the wires around it. So it's going to be neat once we're in a position to be able to look at it. I need to solder together and then route these downlights that are going to be going in here and downlighting the top of the neck, which is this point. Then we could start putting the stack together. So let's waste as little time as we can and get back into Dalek Fill today. Okay, I can see some cleanup needed, particularly where I thought I had taped sufficiently between the balls and had not. So a little bit of cleanup there. I don't think I can scrape the glue or the paint off, but it's a little bit of overspray, but still, that's a very clean paint job that you get from using those masks. Yeah, a lot of this stuff I can because of the hardness of the paint underneath. I can simply scrape that off. That was a problem where the dark gray paint leached underneath, and so that I knew was going to be a bit of an issue. But let's see if we can't clean the rest of that off. But I think that's giving me the suitably classic look that I was going for. Is continuing on the Dalek, I have finally closed up the ball of doom here. The occupant is nice and closed up. I've got the microcrystal clear on the clear parts, hoping that will dry, disappear, which it normally does. I've got the wiring coming down out of the dome that lights up both of these, and puts the down lights on the neck. See, those are ready to go with lots of extra wire to come out the back. And I'm working on the eye stalk right now. Now I have put in a blue chip LED, SM LED, and I know it may or may not be Canon, but I like the way it looks, so I'm going to do it. I've added a googly eye because I cannot resist a good googly eye, and you all know that. It's a weakness that I hope you've come to accept from me. But I love the side profile on that. If you can see, just having that lens stick out just a little bit, I like the way that looks. So, of course, I've got the resistor cut off of this right now so that I can fit it down the stock, and I'll put it back on. But it looks like that. I know blue might not even be Canon at this point. I think they might have been straight white lights until the reboot, but I like the blue, so that's what I'm going to use. Now I'm going to fill this, rather than using microcrystal clear, I'm going to fill this with the Solaris diamond, and then that's going to glue it, or hit it with the UV torch, the torchlight, the flashlight. I'm watching this on and hopefully that's going to seal that in. If it fills in the whole googly eye, that's not a bad thing either. Let's see, where is... I'll use this. I just want to close that up. Let that, yeah, I like that. I like that just fine. Where's my cap? I'll put my cap back on. I'm always careful to cap up the UV adhesives or the UV resins before I before I turn the Solaris light on. Oh no, that could have gone prettier. That could have gone prettier than it did. Let me see if I can clean that off of the excess. Let's see if I can clean the excess Solaris off of that. I was not counting on the displacement of the plastic googly eye, and I think it made a air bubble underneath, so the googly eye does not want to lay flat like it did before. There you go. Push it down. Okay. Yeah, let's get a big clean that off. Yeah, I think there's an air bubble happening inside there, but that's okay. We'll hit this with the UV light. And because that's a clear piece of plastic, it should still cure the UV. Kind of like the side glow it's giving me. I know that that's not going to be the final look of it, but okay, that's in nice and square. Go ahead and toss these Q-tips because they've got UV resin on them. And let's hit it with the light and see how it looks. Oh yeah, that lights up quite nicely. You betcha. Okay, we're ready to install this in the head. And then, or the top dome. We're ready to install this in the dome and bring the wiring down the neck and attach it. So let's do that point. And right now I need to move the camera, so I'll do that and come back. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. It's the last work day of the week, the last work day on Dalek Phil. I am very confident because all we've got left to do is some set dressing. I have done the last bit of wiring, made sure everything was connected and functioning. I will flick the switch here in a second and give you a preview. Here we have the side, and I will put him all in camera. I might even need to back the camera up a bit and back him up some more. Now there are some details that still need to be added. Obviously we got to put the weapons in place and all of that, but I wanted to there we go, give you a good view of where we're at. Flick the switch on the battery pack and Babingi. We've got eye stock. We've got the ears, I guess these are called. We've got the weapon noodle wiring. We've got these 4 big noodle wires, which are the important ones. And then we've got the color changing bulbs that shine down in here on the brain. And then we've got the little dude sitting inside there. Now we've got, obviously we've got weapons to put in place and glue and all of that. And then we've got some more set dressing to go in here because we've got lots of room to fill. No pun intended, fill. But we've got some other bits to do that, but that's all aesthetics. The functioning part of him is complete. I'm liking that. I got no arguments there. And if you know me, if I say I've got no arguments, that must mean something. I need to glue him down and put him in place. There are several points of attachment that need to happen, most notably this base here. I just need to pop him up, put a little bit of CA down there and set him back down, and he'll be just fine. Let's see, he needs to go in something like that, and then we can start dressing up the set where, or dressing up the front of it where we're not seeing, well, we got some empty space to put in there. So that's looking good. The last bit will be, the last major bit after we get the weapons in, will be to put this piece of dome over the top, and I need to make sure I haven't lost it. No, here it is. This is the light housing that goes over top of the dome. Need to repaint this, but it's going to fit on just like this here over top of that, and then that will go on like that. So that will give us the full Monty, if you will. That will give us the full look on that side. Righty, so I've grabbed some greeblies, or sorted through my greebly box, and I've got some more stuff to add to the inside. But before I do that, I need to finish this last bit on the outside, and that involves using a bit of mesh. I got this from my gutter guard. I didn't take it out of the gutter, it was left over. And that's going to run something like that, and then we're going to put slats over top of it. And I'm looking at the instructions, and they say how to overlap that. And I think what I'm going to do is put small bead of CA, just start working that around there. And that's really the only place I've got that I can attach this. So I'm going to have to lay Phil on his side, which means I need some foam, and then I'll start working that edge in. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the final finished Dalek Phil. Now the only thing I have yet to do is I have not decided whether or not to gloss this dome part. I like it kind of the way it is, but I noticed that a lot of the other finished side of him is glossy and shiny. So I'm thinking that I might want to gloss that piece, but that's the only thing left. But here's what it looks like on the inside. It's fascinating to me, maybe nobody else, that it looks so much like a TARDIS console inside. A little bit of irony there, I think. But I had some fun running wire for once that doesn't go anywhere. Instead of spending the time hiding lighting wires, not only am I celebrating lighting wires, but I am also adding more wires that don't do anything. So take that for what it's worth. Let me kill the light here, and maybe you can see him just that much better. But some fun stuff going on here. Bare LED right here with the wiring going down. I mean, you can obviously see that that's a bare LED. I like the split right down the center. I think that line is very, well, I like it. It's very definitive, but, and then I got these plates on today. I actually had to make 2 of those plates because I didn't have enough in the kit that I was sent, and I scratch built them, and I challenge you to guess which ones were scratch built, because it's a simple thing. I just took a piece of sheet stock and a couple of dress pins, and pins for the heads, and the plate was just a piece of sheet stock. But you know, you don't have to print everything. If you're good at scratch building, you can still scratch build. And I like the fact that the death weapon has power running to it now. Since the beam would come out blue here, that it would be the energy would be stored up in the gun and ready to go. Well, I'm really happy with how that turned out. I'm glad that Phil and Frank came up with this thing. It started in the brain, I believe, of Phil Segal, a dark and dangerous place that only few people dare go. And then it swiftly moved on to Jeff Fink, who made it manifest into real life. And then, like I said again, then Phil built one and got a silver prize for it at Wonderfest this last year. So maybe I'll bring mine next year and see if I can try my luck at it. But I'm doing the nice thing about this kit, among many nice things, it's compact. It's run by a battery on the bottom. It will not take up a whole bunch of shelf space. It will go nicely with the rest of my Dalek collection. So I had a lot of fun with this. I hope you had fun watching it. Next week we're back to the Enterprise. So I've got some lighting coming in. I've got some tools ready to go. We're going to jump back on that, and I like this on and off again. I think it's more helpful for my psyche and for the results that I'm getting. So until next week, when we're back on the Enterprise, y'all take care of yourselves. Be good to each other, be nice, be kind, be all those things that don't cost a dime. And we'll see you here next time. Oh, I didn't mean to rhyme. And there, I did it again. I'm sorry. See ya.
Honestly, I don't know why I bother.